Linda Allen, you've heard the claims. Now it's time for the denials. The state treasurer is expected to go point by point with the claims made against him by this former state employee, including the most explosive ones, those claims that on an overnight retreat that the employee was sexually harassed. Here is State Treasurer now and Republican candidate for Governor Dan Rutherford.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm going to apologize to have you all come out to the suburbs. This is not where I had planned, and I've got to be in a debate tonight at 6 o'clock, so it's a little more easier for me to be out here, so thanks for doing this. I was with you about a week or two ago, and when I was, at that time, I said that unfortunately I was not able to comment because of the personnel matter behind it, and the idea of
the lawsuit that was filed by his former employee.
The idea of having the allegations being put out there, but now that he's decided to go public with it, I'm delighted to be able to have that opportunity. So, Ed Michalowski filed a federal lawsuit today against me and my chief of staff, Kyle Ham. While an independent investigation is going on with the Illinois State Treasurer's Office, conducted an initial review of the documents that Michalowski claims supported these allegations, as well as the owned records. We preliminarily found that there was no merit to it whatsoever. So the allegations are false, and here's what I want to talk to you about. To our knowledge, there are no witnesses to these alleged incidents of harassment. In fact, the one which allegedly took place at my home in April of 2011, and the other 2 dates outside the office in 2011 and 2012. The alleged incidents in December 13 were only raised in the complaint filed today, and the Treasurer's Office had not been previously informed of the harassment in 2013. In any event, I strongly deny any inappropriate conduct, regardless of the date. State records reviewed by the Treasurer's Office bear no resemblance to Michalowski's allegations. For instance, Michalowski claimed that he was harassed in an overnight retreat at my home in Chenoa on April 2 of 2011. However, a travel voucher submitted and signed by Michalowski himself, dating that same day, shows that he had left Pontiac at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but got home, his own home, at 4 that day. Continuing on, though, also is available to us an email that was written by Michalowski on April 6, 2011, which basically states, I worked on Saturday, April 2. My work had me drive to and from Pontiac, about 97 miles. I drove my vehicle, so forth. But then it goes back and says, other information traveled back and forth from my car was 97 miles away. I left his home at 4 a.m., we had a breakfast meeting in Chicago, and left to return to my home and ended back that day at 4 p.m. So the alleger's own email, the alleger's own travel voucher, shows that he had left and had returned home, his own home, by 4 o'clock that afternoon. Details about a text that apparently a staffer had sent, talking something about a tank top, was deliberately lifted out of context. We have copies of what Michalowski's attorney had provided us during the initial review, and it was a banter between 2 employees on a Sunday afternoon, simply stating that one of them, in fact, Michalowski himself voluntarily says, what about my toupee? Should I bring my casual one? So these are banters between 2 employees, and then the response is something like the treasurer asked about your tank top. I think you've got copies of those there. Further contrary to the claims, Michalowski did not report any of these incidents. Now keep in mind, these are from 2011, 2012. He did not report any of these incidences to his supervisor through the Equal Employment Opportunity process, nor did anyone else report any type of misconduct for these claims that are 2 and now 3 years old. Chief of Staff Kyle Ham vehemently denies any of this has been made available to him and about his conduct. No Treasurer's Office employee in this administration has been pressured or otherwise coerced into performing any political activity. Employees such as Michalowski have volunteered to perform political activity on their own time and using their own resources. Michalowski has never suffered any demotion or decrease in his salary, which, by the way, is substantial. He is one of the 6 highest paid salaries in the Office of State Treasurer, making $99,000. He was never promised any promotion. Text messages produced by Michalowski to our office show continual civility, camaraderie, appreciation, and support from me as the treasurer and from other co-workers for Michalowski and from Michalowski to me. These are both pre and post these allegations. Participation in politics is not a factor in advancement in the Office of State Treasurer. Of the 55 non-union employees receiving salary adjustments in the Rutherford administration, 71% of them were employed prior to our administration, and many of them having been longtime employees. The alleged incidents of harassment started in 2011 and in 2012, well beyond the statutes of limitations provided by state law and federal law for the equal employment opportunity claims. But only now, today, does Michalowski raise these incidents occurring in 2013 as a way to make these allegations seem timely. Like the timing of the claims, this is very convenient for Mr. Michalowski. Likewise, the political activity is alleged to have primarily occurred in 2011 and 2012. Michalowski, like every state treasurer office employee, receives ethics training annually, and the employees are instructed to report any allegations of prohibited political activity or misconduct to the Office of the Executive Inspector General. However, there's a one-year statute of limitations, the Office of Inspector General, to open investigation. These allegations were never reported to the Office of the Inspector General at that time. The false allegations were only brought to light, watch these dates. These false allegations were only brought to light by contacting our office, our attorney, on January 23. This is approximately 6 weeks prior to a contested primary election. The attorney, Christine Svensson, accompanied the allegations with a demand for $300,000. And the report was to keep things under wraps. Because of the nature of these allegations, I went public. I was not going to tolerate it. The Treasurer's Office has taken great care not to reveal the identity of Mr. Michalowski. In fact, some of you sitting right here today have approached me multiple times to have conversations about that, and I respectfully decline. Public records show that Mr. Michalowski is in the midst of ongoing bankruptcy. He is also delinquent in his bankruptcy payments. This is all public record now. He is delinquent in his bankruptcy payments as of May 2013, and there was a hearing scheduled for the delinquency on January 23rd, the very date that his attorney first contacted the Treasurer's Office. His home has been foreclosed upon in April of 2013, and in October of 2013, he's filed for divorce. The Treasurer's Office is in the midst of their investigation. I hope that we will have this released or available soon, and when it is, we will be releasing the findings, and we will be turning over all documentation to the Office of the Inspector General of the Office of the Illinois State Treasurer. I remain committed to providing a workplace that is free of any misconduct. I would be delighted to take any questions.
Why do you think Mr. Michalowski, what is his motive in bringing these, if they're totally...
Let's go here first, if you don't mind.
Are you saying...
Sure, I don't mind.
Are you saying that the statute of limitations has run out on all these allegations, or that you didn't do anything?
Well, I'm saying I didn't do anything. My point is that there's a process in place in which allegations could have been brought and should have been brought, and that was not done. It is now only coming to light in a press conference, or I'm sorry, in a lawsuit, when early voting has already started. I did not do these things. And these things are 2 and 3 years old, and now they're coming up just on the eve of an election. Let's go with the young man right here.
What do you think Mr. Michalowski's motives are, if these are totally false or out of thin air? Why is he doing this?
Well, I'd say there's a lot of political motivation to this. I absolutely believe this thing smells of politics. I said that in the original press conference, and I say it again here today. I mean, having never had any allegation like this ever before in my 22 years in public office, having absolutely no proof to it whatsoever, even including the fact of the April incident where he himself says that he has left in the middle of the afternoon and returned home. I mean, that is a matter of fact that he provides himself, not some witness or non-witness. I think it's all politics. This is about Rutherford not being able to get the chance to be the nomination. I believe I stand between Bruce Rauner and the nomination.
Are you still?
Let me finish here. Let me finish. I believe that everything that's been going on right now, you've got yourself a third-party organization out there that's run negative ads in the past against a congressman from Peoria, and no one has been able to put their finger on who did that and why he was involved with it. The other thing is there's now third-party entities from the same state of Ohio that are running negative ads against the two senators and myself. We've already had it quoted before from others who have been around Mr. Rauner's campaign saying that he will do what he can to destroy his opponents. I'm telling you right now, when you have someone who is in the situation that they're in to make false allegations against the state treasurer as he has, I say that this is absolutely, totally political.
You're still flatly pointing the finger at him.
I think that Mr. Rauner has got a lot to do with this.
Could there have been some behavior on your part that was misconstrued or that someone just didn't understand? Perhaps you're kidding, perhaps you're, I don't know.
I mean, everything that I have seen and presented to us, I don't see it. I mean, even the text about the tank top, that wasn't me. I mean, I wasn't even in the same city when the person did that. So, no, I don't see that. And it's, here, you don't go kidding. You don't go kidding about the allegations of April 2nd. I mean, that's not like you misinterpreted. That was an absolute statement. And I don't know that Mr. Michalowski realizes that he had signed his own travel voucher saying that he left Pontiac at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and returned home, his own home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and had also then said through an own email saying that.
Sir,
So to be clear, he did not stay at your home.
That is correct.
Did he visit your home?
No.
he didn't have
No.
dinner at your home?
No.
So where was the meeting?
In Chicago.
He's never been in
Why
your
did he
home.
go to
He
Pontiac?
went to, he came to Pontiac, he drove that day, came to Pontiac, picked up in the morning, we had a breakfast at, in Chicago, I'm assuming 8:30, did some, whatever we do in Chicago, came back, dropped me off and went back home.
So has he ever
Dropped you
been in
off.
your house?
Dropped me off.
At your home?
No, in Pontiac,
Where in Pontiac?
the Pontiac office.
So he's never been to your house?
He has been to my house about 10 or a dozen years ago. We've got mutual friends. See, this is the thing about this. I know this gentleman. I mean, I know him. And we've got mutual friends.
Why is he turned on you? If you've known him,
I-
mutual friends, and he was a supporter of yours?
Yeah, candidly, I can only speculate, but when you start to look at the fact that one's going through bankruptcy, one's delinquent in their bankruptcy, one has foreclosure, and one is filed for divorce, I think there's a lot of pressures that are upon this man right
Well,
now.
then how did he and Mr. Rauner marry their goal towards taking you down? One is for money, one is for politics. How do those two come together and conspire against you? We're just trying to understand it.
Yeah, I
sir.
think there's you look at the different actions that are taking place out there right now to try to take down all the opponents to Bruce Rauner. And there's a number of them going on. I happen to be the guy that's got the most amount of money available, have got the best organization available. I happen to be the one between him and the nomination.
Do you have any proof that Bruce Rauner is involved in this other than the fact that the attorney received one payment?
I do not have direct facts to it, I do not. But I do have all of these other situations that you look at out there.
And
What
you
a-
believe
Mr. Treasurer,
Michalowski is
Could you
motivated
talk a little
financially?
bit about as well the political discrimination, the talk of on the Romney campaign, that if he didn't raise enough money, if he didn't find wealthy folks to get donations. I mean, he has some specific allegations against you on this.
And they're unfounded. Mr. Michalowski came to me and said there are people that would like to donate to the campaign. How do they do it? I said, well, there's an event coming up, or someplace else, whatever like that. Never once was there, because there was no need for me to do that. I mean, there was no need for me to do that for the Romney campaign. And for my campaign, candidly, Mr. Michalowski has contributed to my campaign. He's contributed back in the 1990s, maybe early 2000s. And there was, I mean, I recall him approaching me. He said, I know an individual that like to donate to your campaign committee. He says, can we have lunch? And I said, let's have lunch. Where do we do it? Gene and Giorgetti's. I mean, I remember specifically. So there was no, and even if you go back through the texts, which are made available to us and will eventually come to light, that, you know, there was nothing like that. So, who else has a question?
You know the whispering campaign that's been going on about your sexuality for years and years. How do you, any candidate facing a sexual harassment claim at this cycle of an election would have a hard time overcoming it, let alone a Republican candidate with the whispering campaign that's been mounted against you, and now a male accuser? How do you survive that and win a GOP primary?
Is that your question? How do I survive it?
Yeah.
I stand right here and look you in the eye and telling you it's wrong. It is false. These accusations are from claims of 2 and 3 years ago. And I think it is abundantly clear the political opportunity 6 weeks before an election and when early voting has already started. That is exactly how I'm answering your question.
How did your friend become an employee of your office?
I hired him. When he, I'd known Mr. Michalowski, I'm guessing 15 years. Known him. He'd worked at the Secretary of State's office. When I became the treasurer, I brought him to my staff.
Can you address the December 2013 allegations that were in the lawsuit? Your press release didn't address those at a holiday party.
Yeah, we were at a holiday party in Chicago and upstairs at Gene and Giorgetti's. We were there together with probably about 40 other people. In fact, I remember he had either called or texted, you know, what time we getting here, and we got mutual friends that hosted it, and we were there. As far as anything about the allegation of that December meeting, absolutely incorrect. No, false.
He's claiming that is one thing that he says that he's indicating, or his attorney's indicating, that there may be witnesses to that.
That would be great.
You came up, rubbed his shoulders, said you need a full body massage.
That is absolutely incorrect.
And a witness is quoted as saying that was creepy after you walked away.
Then we will have the opportunity to see who that witness is.
Can you tell me about the, also in December 2013, allegedly you told another employee, I can see your chest through that shirt and t-shirt, shake it baby, shake it.
That is absolutely false.
Because that appears to be, again, another
Then I would look forward to the opportunity to have that person say that. That is absolutely false.
You mentioned that the text messages were taken out of context. Do you plan to release those text messages?
I think we did.
to the public?
Do we hand out the copy of the text?
Yes, we can go.
Yeah.
You got it.
Just a point of clarification, so there was no overnight retreat at your house?
No,
Has there ever been something like
No.
that?
no.
And speaking of travel vouchers, you have in the past shared a room with a male employee. Can you talk a little bit about whether that's appropriate or not? And
We've done none, there's been none, we do that on the campaign side, we do not do that on the state side. And this is something that you do in small business, it's something that you do in the NFL, it's something you do in the NHL, it's something you do to save resources.
But you're a supervisor and he is a subordinate, and you did do it on the state side according to your office.
No, we did not do it in the state. Well, I'm sorry, 2 out of town, out of Washington DC and New York, when they were higher price, yes.
But I don't share a room with my boss.
Well, then there are many companies that do, including the National Hockey League, including the National Football League, including many small businesses. If there's no other questions, I appreciate that.
What about
I'm
the-
sorry, Mark?
Michalowski was a longtime Democratic operative. Why did he switch over to you? Had he become a Republican in your view?
I don't know if he became a Republican. He came over, he was very helpful. In fact, during my 2006 campaign, he was very active politically for me, was very active politically for me, helped in the 2010 campaign, you know, had been in office, a cabinet or whatever you call it, officer in the Secretary of State's office, and I felt that he'd do a good job in the office of State Treasurer.
Were you planning to fire him, Mr. Treasurer?
Absolutely not. I had no idea that there was any of this even going on. I have no idea where this came into his head. I mean,
There's a list of 13 names that some of us have been told about, and supposedly...
I only heard that through chatter mill too, and I have no idea what they're
Were
talking
you
about.
planning to fire people after March 20th?
Absolutely not.
What about the
There would have been no benefit to have gone through that process. There's no reason to have done that. So.
At the RNC in Tampa, did you ask him to go up to your room so you could have
Absolutely
anything
not.
you want?
He was in Tampa to visit his sister. Now, he didn't come out there at my request. He's got a sister that lives in, I think in Tampa or somewhere near there. And he came out there. He says, hey, do you mind if I come to some of the social events? I said, no, I'd be glad to have you there. So no, absolutely not.
Was there any incident prior to these allegations that made you think that there had been some sort of falling out, or you guys no longer saw eye to eye? Were you ever dissatisfied with his performance and his job?
No,
Nothing to indicate that this is on the horizon.
no.
On the 23rd of January, I think you said when he first came to you.
I'm sorry, to be clear, the attorney for the accuser first approached our attorneys.
When you first heard of these allegations, what went through your head? What was your response?
What went through my head when I heard him, I said, my God, this is unbelievable. This is coming out of left field. I had no idea what could possibly, be going through someone's head to do this. And to even to think that. I mean, it was completely contrary to anything that I would have ever thought.
No
What do
one
you
could
plan
have
to do about it?
misinterpreted some frat boy humor or anything like
No.
that.
No.
Locker room banter that guys sometimes engage in.
No, and I understand your questions. I do. No.
What do you plan to do about it? I mean, this is assassination of your character, as you say, weeks before you go into an election.
I'm going to keep my head up high. I'm going to continue on. We've had a stronger response. In fact, candidly, because of this, we've had people donate online. The hundreds, and I don't embellish this, hundreds and hundreds of emails of support, the phone calls that have come in. We've had events around the state. I'm walking out of here and I'm going down the street and I've got a debate with at least two of the opponents that are showing up. Mr. Rounder's not showing up here again tonight like he didn't show up again last night. I'm carrying on with my campaign. I'm going on with the debate. I'm going on. We're going to continue on.
What about the fact that Dan Proft is moderating this debate? He has that WLS show. Christine Svensson, who's his lawyer, constantly appears on that show talking about all these allegations. Does that trouble you at all, that connection?
Let's just say I'm going to assume that it's going to be run fairly tonight, and if it's not, I'm going to remind him of it. Thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you.